CBS 46 News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Gravir Dinza. I'm filling in for Karen today. Here's a look at some of what's coming up on today's show. It is almost time for the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. We're going to be speaking with a 10-year cancer survivor diagnosed at the very young age of 24 about her journey and is why it's important to get people out. Also, a new movie shot right here in Georgia is about to hit area screens. We'll speak with an actor who's also a producer, and he says one film genre here in Georgia is not going anywhere. Our first guest this morning, though, is the executive director from Georgia Stand Up, here to talk about the importance of the 2020 census. So, Deborah Scott, welcome.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk first about why in the world it's so important for everybody to fill that census out.
Well, you know, the census happens every 10 years, and in March of 2020, we will do the census again. And the money, the reapportionment of the way the money is going to be divvied out to each state is depending on the census. So we need to make sure we answer the census and that everyone answers it completely. Everyone in your family should answer it, every community should answer it, and every resident.
So when you talk about that money, explain, it's not for filling out the census.
No,
that money is actually based on the questions and the answers to those questions.
Exactly.
So can you talk a little bit about that federal money and where it goes?
Yeah, it's called reapportionment, and what happens is, based on the population in each state and each county, the money is apportioned accordingly. And so it determines hospitals, schools, transportation, how federal dollars will be spent in the states and in the cities in which we live in.
And you said the last time, of course, we had the census was 2010. Where does Georgia rank in getting it done?
Well, we don't want to look back too far, but we didn't do too well last time. So only about 45% of the residents of the city of Georgia actually answered the census last time. So we're trying to get out early to make sure community groups get the word out to trusted churches and community groups to say, go ahead and answer the census. It's important to your communities, it's important to your schools, it's important to your public transportation, it's important to Medicaid and Medicare, It's important to Social Security. And so we want to make sure that all communities answer the census early. And the difference this year is it's going to be online.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because in the past, the paper, you get it in the mail and you fill it out, you send it back. Are there going to be some challenges to that, to having it online?
Yes, and that's why we're here, because there are hard to count communities, and which communities that may not have access to public transportation, may not have access to online information. And so there are public libraries that they can go and fill out the census. There'll be community groups that will make their computers available to help people. There will be door-to-door canvassers later on to make sure that people fill out the census, but it's really important, if you don't have access to computers and internet, that you find a way to answer that census online if you can.
And people will help you do it. I mean, that's
People
really
will help you do it.
why you're here, to say, hey, you know what? Don't miss out, because you could be actually hurting yourself. Because there might be people that might be a little afraid to fill out the census. And I think that's part of the concern from some communities as well.
Yes, and with this political climate, it's been a very difficult process for people to really understand that the census should not be political, that it really is about counting every single person that is actually residing in the United States. And so however you got here, that's another issue.
Right.
But the fact is, people are living here, and they're living under the guise of this is America. And so we want to make sure every person in America is counted, and particularly Black and brown communities that may not have the same kind of access as other communities.
And the other part of it too is, and people may not realize this, this is the law. You are required to fill out the census.
You are
This
required.
isn't just I might fill it out if I feel like it.
No, you're definitely required to fill it out. Now, I'm not really focused on the penalties for not filling it out, but we really want to make sure that people just proactively fill it out, and that they proactively talk about this in their communities, in their churches, in their homes about why it's important. And there are some fake census coming out. We understand that several groups have put out their own version of a census, and we want to make sure that people realize that the census has not been mailed out yet, and it won't be mailed out, it won't be sent to you until March of 2020. So if you're getting it now, that's not the real census.
So even though it's going to be done online and very quickly, how will we know it is time? Will we get something in the mail that
Yes,
says
you'll
go
get
to
something
this?
in the mail and with a link
Okay.
to say go ahead and fill it out this week. And they'll have about a month, and then people will start sending more information and saying, come on, fill it out, and there'll be a process for about 6 months. But we want people to get ahead and plan early. So if community groups are out there that want to help around the census, they can call us.
Okay.
We'll be happy to help them participate. And then if they want to set up census awareness computers in their churches and their community groups so that they can be an extension and outreach for those communities, that would be really great.
Great. Well, you're getting the word out early, and we appreciate you coming by and talking to us this morning.
Thank you. Please fill out the 2020
All right.
census.
Thank you, Deborah Scott. Appreciate it. Coming up next, it's that time of year. It's the time to fight breast cancer. We'll tell you how you can get involved right after this.